people that had tattoos were cooler, you know? It was like a kind of a cool thing to do. And I also found too, the scorpion in the back of my head, it was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my entire life.
I bet.
It gave me, every time I go get a tattoo, I feel like I'm getting stronger mentally, especially for this one. Because for this one, what I had to do was,
You felt like you endured the tattoo.
I was gripping on a chair, I was biting down on a shirt, and I was saying to myself over and over, this ain't pain, this ain't shit, this ain't pain, this ain't shit. Because it literally felt like a chisel in my skull.
Jesus.
And so in the minute I stopped saying it to myself, then it would freaking hurt even more. But with the power of the mind, I just kept on saying it, even when I go in the cold plunge now.
I stubbed my toe the other day. What's up, and welcome back to BK's Chop Shop. Today we have the legend in the house, Eric Boss. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
We just did this. That's why it seems weird because, Nick and Corey made me redo it. But yeah, legend here. We were just talking about all the things he does. So you are a nightlife promoter. You obviously have like parties that you run and been doing that for a while at multiple clubs. You are the CMO of a construction company called Aloha Construction. Aloha Construction. You have a vodka. Are you part of a vodka brand?
Partner in one vodka.
Okay, and there's something else I want to remember, but it's on the tip of my tongue. Don't tell me. You are also mental health coach.
No, I'm not a mental health coach.
No, okay.
I'm literally just an advocate.
An advocate for mental health. Yeah,
I'm not educated in the field whatsoever. You know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I want to do in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another one of the tools in my belt.
Yeah, a lot of people need help with that, me included. Yeah. That's a good thing for people to do.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, I never thought about that because you just assume you're fine your whole life until you're not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mental health there's so many facets of it, right? I feel like it affects every single one of us. It's something as small as like, you know, we all have like something that we want to do, and then we automatically, our mind will tell us something to justify not doing it.
Oh, okay.
And to me, that's mental health, you know, because the stronger you are mentally, the more you're going to be able to do those things. Like I've come to a point in my life where anything that scares me now, before, you know, fight or flight, you know, you don't do it to stay safe. Now I do those things all the time.
Okay.
I make myself do it.
So you're calling mental health, I guess I would call that like discipline, like even just disciplining your mind.
Anything with the mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mental health is really just having a healthy mind, strengthening your mind.
Yeah.
Dude, you're blowing my mind. This is crazy. Because, you know, everybody, you always associate, and I don't know about always, I guess me, associate, depression, schizophrenia, I don't know, just name some sort of disease that happens in your brain.
Yeah, mine's just a strong mind because, man, God, there's so many, like I said, there's so many different facets, but I feel like when you have a strong, healthy mind, and it's crazy to me that there's so many things that you can do naturally that are free to give you a healthier, you know, to be happier, exercise, nutrition, loving yourself. You know, you could do that if you focus on it. You could do anything if you focus on it.
Yeah, that's a cool way to think about it. So do you spend like time of your day like doing those things? Do you go, I'm gonna go love myself right now? I do it like 2 or 3 times a day.
You don't understand. I have a paragraph of affirmations I say.
Oh, do you?
Before I came here, you know, I always, because it's not like I'm unwilled. I still get the fear. I still get those, but I know how to fight them now. I know how to work through them. So on the way here, like I get nervous before these things all the time.
Yeah.
But then I tell myself, I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
I nip it right in the bud right
like,
there.
Why wouldn't you be positive about it?
Yeah, because all that does is when you say something negative, now you think that, you believe your negative thoughts.
Wow.
You know, most people do. And if you question it, number one, it's most of the time it's not even real. Why don't you at least, if you're going to say something that's not real, make it positive?
That's a really good point. You know, and I feel like I have felt like that in the past before. Like you have like these realizations, I think, and then you forget them over time. And you get stuck in.
You have to. It has to be repetition.
Yeah.
Because the more you do it, because you're conditioned, how you naturally act, you're conditioned. You were conditioned unnaturally, right? But you have to condition yourself intentionally to think differently. So if you keep on saying something, it'll become a habit, and then it becomes automatic. And then you believe it. Like, I believe I'm the best at what I do, at everything I do.
Yeah.
Am I? I don't care because that's what I believe.
Get that? Yeah, that Kanye West effect.
I'm just saying. I mean, I've said to myself so many times.
Yeah. But is he the greatest? I don't know. Did he go crazy? Yeah. But graduation was fucking awesome, dude.
Well, I was going to ask you, actually, because like I said, how much I love comedians.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pastimes, literally, when I was in a relationship, I would always get high with my girlfriend. We'd go see different comedians.
Yeah.
I've seen Chris Rock, Dane Cook.
You go see like comedians.
Yeah. No, like that was a thing. Like we used to always, anytime Zanies, anyone would have like a star in town.
Yeah.
Always go see him. Rob Schneider, like Joe Coy, like just name them. My favorite, honestly, one of my favorites, the first one that just came to my head, Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, I loved Anthony Jeselnik.
Beast.
Yeah.
He's got I've always, when I used to party hard, and when I'm talking party hard, drinking and doing cocaine every night, going out, and what would happen is, I analyze my behavior and like my thoughts and how on different substances.
Yes.
And I found that when I was doing coke, I would get really witty, but like trash talking. Like Anthony Jeselnik. But it was funny, you know, like people would, you know, granted, there's definitely some people behind my back that are saying that fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You know, but I was getting laughs. People were, you know, and because they also knew my mentality, my personality outside of that. I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a good guy. I do good things. I always help people.
Yeah, they're not strangers to who you're doing it to.
So when I talk shit like that, it's funny.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Was there ever a fear that like you would like fall into stand up and be so disciplined, but then still need the coke that you just become this coke fueled comedian?
You know, I never.
A lot of people do that.
It never crossed my mind to even be a comedian because, like I said, I always had a fear.
That would be my fear. I'd be like, I'm gonna get too good. I'm gonna need.
I'll make a long story short, but like when I used to be.
No, I love this story.
I used to be a recruiter for almost 10 years.
A recruiter,
IT recruiter.
IT recruiter.
So I would find jobs for web developers, engineers, project managers, help desk. So we had a kickoff meeting at the beginning of the year where both our offices, I worked in the downtown office and there was one in the burbs. We had we had to do presentations and we got into groups and I had to present and I said I did not want to present because I already knew I had a fear of it.
Yeah.
I went up there to present and not only did I fuck up where I was fumbling my words, a person from my group had to come up and save me. They came up to the front.
Oh, really?
Yes. So imagine having that experience.
Yeah.
After that, I was just kind of like, I do not want to talk in front of anyone.
Yeah. And you were nervous at that time too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You did it, yeah.
What really helped me is when I started doing, I don't mean to cut you off.
I was about to ask, how did you overcome it? I think you're going to tell me.
So what helped me overcome it, because it's been literally just over this last 6 months has been breakthrough. But what started it was when I was a manager for clubs and we had to do pre-shift.
Yeah.
And I would talk in front of, it was only like 15 people, servers, you know, stuff like that. But even now, I still have, I'm not good at keeping eye contact.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. It's so funny because it is situational.
Yeah.
Because if it's a hot girl, I could stare right into her eyes.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't get that. Like, eye contact with other dudes is hard for me too because I'm like, we're looking at each other too long.
Yeah.
I know that feeling where you're just talking about whatever.
And then sometimes I'm even thinking in my head, like, Eric, you want to work on this, you know,
Yeah.
like keep your eye contact on them. And I found that when I do that, they'll end up looking away.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
I'm just like, you just got to do it. It's all about, I swear I want this on my tombstone.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the things you say to yourself and your perspective.
Yeah, that's so cool.
No matter what you're dealing with, no matter what happens in life. My father dies.
Yeah.
You know, he just died a year and a half ago.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm fine. Like, honestly, it's
sorry.
because, thank you. But it's because I feel like I'm so mentally strong that I tell myself it's a part of life. I celebrate the life. I don't mourn to death.
Yeah.
I cherish the time that we had. I made sure that before he passed, I was with him as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I did all those things, and I tell myself those things.
You made sure you had no regrets, and you actively went out of your way to have
And I do
no
that with my
regrets.
mom now. And I could have the perspective where, man, I'm never going to recover from this. Or I could say, that's yesterday. Move forward. He would not want you to be like this. He would not want, that's my perspective. And so the things I tell myself and my perspective dictates the quality of your life.
So you're obviously very strong and disciplined mentally. Do you find yourself, are you disciplined and strong in that same way, like in other aspects of your life? Like, are you
Almost
getting up
all
at 3:30 a.m.? Are you one of those dudes?
Yeah. So over the last 2 years is when I found what I really wanted to do with my life and my purpose, and really defined it. And I also cut everything out. Like my 2 best friends, I have 3 best friends that are in their married kids or in another state. So I don't have that distracting me, friends, to go out and stuff. I stopped dating this girl that I was on and off for like 2-3 years. Now I don't talk to any girls. So now all I do is focus on my goals and my purpose. And now, before I used to progress like this in life, now I'm just going straight up. And
do you
I'm like,
feel the difference in progress too?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so like you just asked, self-mastery on this tip. I'm like David Goggins.
Yeah, you remind me a lot of David
I swear.
Goggins.
Like,
there's a couple people I'm going to mention. I want to know if you know who they are.
I'm in the gym 6 days a week. I'm in the cold plunge sauna, my nutrition.
Love the sauna.
I fall off sometimes, and sometimes I just do it just to experiment. Like, there's no doubt. Like, I'll go like a month eating perfect in the gym, recovery perfect, and then after my dominatrix party, sometimes I have my shirt off. I want to be ripped, so I get ripped before it. And then right after, I'm like, I'm fucking eating Portillo's, McDonald's, all in a row. And no doubt, you get depressed.
Yeah.
You get lethargic. Like, it affects your body, your mood, it affects everything, the type of food you eat.
Do you feel like you need to have those periods where you have those lows because you can't live on the high for so much? You're like, I need 3 or 4 days to be a piece of shit.
1,000%, because it makes it that much enjoyable too.
Yeah.
When you do it every day, it becomes monotonous. It's not even. It's a normalcy then.
Yeah.
But now it's perfect. I stay, because now I'm 44. I'm caring about the rest of my life. Like, when you're in your 20s, you
look
really
good for 44, man.
Because of all the shit I do.
Yeah.
But when you're in your 20s, you don't think about that.
Yeah.
Even 30s, and depending on where you're at in your life, you may not ever think like that.
No, when you're in your 20s, man, you're just like, I'm going to live forever.
Yeah.
And nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's almost the mindset you've adopted now, probably in your 40s.
Yeah.
It's like,
I say that to myself. It's one of the things I say to myself. I'm living forever. I'm living for fucking
I don't need health benefits forever.
Oh, that's great.
Don't think I'm going to skip over it because I got to know what the fuck is the dominatrix party?
Man, it's so I've had now in the last 4 years, I've had 7 different theme parties. And at one time I had 4 in 1 week at 4 different clubs. I think the most recent time it was a party called No-Tell Hotel, a party called House and Sushi, which was on, I don't know if you saw that Modern NBA YouTube video. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that party was featured on there. That got me 1.4 million views, and just messages from all over the world. It's insane.
That's crazy.
And then Fox's Wild, which is the only one I have right now that's still going for almost 2 years.
Sorry.
Real professional, buddy.
I know. My fucking sister. Shut up. Marissa, shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
I put my ringer on so I could hear if you called.
And then
professional.
And then my last party was called The Jungle. And so No-Tell Hotel, it was pretty much my most balls to the wall party, where I would have a different entertainer every week. And some of these entertainers, they were circus sideshows. I had girls swallowing swords. I had guys with things in their nose, swinging stuff. Yeah, and anything.
Quick question.
Everything.
Did you ever get Red Panda? Do you know who that is?
It sounds familiar.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay. I had a really famous guy that had all these pins all over his head. It was crazy. But so that party, I don't know how it started, but I just decided to do a party called Dominatrix, which had a stripper pole. I would give out all these toys and props. They're literally sex toys, blow-up dolls. All the
so
girls
funny.
dressed
You're like,
up.
what would be a great party to do? Let's get some strippers.
Yeah, and literally, it's probably it's the wildest party for sure.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
And what's even crazier is that you would think that party, people actually want to have it at their venue. when you would not think that, and it's, innuendo. But I got contacted by, and actually I'm putting this out there right now so it happens. I got contacted by LeBron James's teammate in high school. His name's Sion Cotton. Shout out Sion. Or I think it's Shion. I said his name wrong. Sorry.
Real professional.
Yeah, sorry, fuck. But he manages the LeBron James Community Center in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
And he's like, we want to bring dominatrix here. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, what?
And I'm like, okay,
center?
let's do it, And then we're talking, we're going back and forth. And what I found with all the parties that aren't local, like I was talking to another guy in Berlin. There's number one.
That one would be a crazy one.
Fuck yeah. So number one, there's a lot more red tape. There's a lot more work that goes into it. And if planning could be one of those things that takes years before it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so persistent where like, if you don't answer me back, I'm messaging with a question mark. If you don't message me back after that, sorry, I'm sorry for bugging you, but I just want to,
Yeah.
You have to do that if you want to make things happen.
Yeah.
And I've done that so many times where if I never did that, nothing would ever happen. So I'm just all over people.
Yeah. I'm interested. So a couple of things. One, I don't want to get to Red Panda in a second because you should know who this person is. She does every the Bulls halftime show probably more than anybody else.
Okay.
She has a giant unicycle that's like 12 feet in the air.
And
she balances bowls, and you're like, she can't get a seventh bowl up there.
That's her name, Red Panda?
Red Panda.
Yeah.
You got to get her.
She's fucking amazing. She's probably a couple grand, actually.
Yeah, if she's working for the Bulls, she ain't cheap, maybe.
She's probably a couple grand.
Well, you said another thing I wanted to talk about. You said, you just in passing, you said, I'm going to say this, I'm going to put it out there so this happens.
Yeah.
Is that something you'll believe? Like, you think you got to speak it to make it? Or like
100%.
Yeah.
No matter what, the thoughts that you have and whatever you focus on, you create for yourself. So if I'm going to sit there and say, let's say I'm looking for a job, and if I keep on saying to myself, like, I'm never going to find a job, this is not going to happen, you're going to create that reality for you, because what you're doing is you're in that negative space, you're in that low energy space, you're not doing anything productive out of there. But if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to find a job no matter what, I'm going to fucking die before I find it. I'll die.
Before I don't find a job.
Yeah, before I don't find a job. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start thinking about things. It's like the law of attraction. You're going to start thinking about things on what to do to make that happen.
Wow, that makes so much sense.
It literally is truth. And what sucks is that you can't prove it. It's not 2 + 2 = 4.
Sure.
But when there's millions of people saying it, and there's whole, like the way that I am right now, it's so crazy because I was never taught. I just started watching podcasts.
Yeah,
I just started watching Jordan Peterson. I just started watching, and the more I do it, Tony Robbins. The more I do it,
Tony Robbins.
You got to think about what people don't realize is that, like we said before, is that you've been unnaturally conditioned, right? So everything that you watch, everything you listen to, everything your environment, everything, you're getting programmed. But you could reverse that by programming yourself intentionally. Like if I want to learn how to speak Spanish, I'm going to keep, if you want to start shooting, get better at free throws, you're going to keep shooting free throws a million times. If you want to get better at being positive, if you want to get better at being more disciplined, you're going to start doing those things and just do it over and over and over.
What I think is interesting about what you said too is I've heard this explained before, and like I've gone through periods like this too, but it's always been like this kind of wishy-washy thing of like, oh, just put it out there, or like, like manifest.
Yeah.
But what I thought was interesting about what you said is there was some logic behind it where it's like, if you tell yourself you're going to die before you don't get this thing, you'll start thinking of things along the lines of, all right, I got to make this fucking happen. What are my options? It's not this live in the energy, but it is. But it's explained in a more logical way.
But and even if you have, I put intention with everything I do. If I'm going to sit there and say, no matter what I do today, I'm going to make sure I do some work to help find me a job. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that I'm going to do that. I'll write it down.
Yeah.
You got to hold yourself accountable. But like we talked about, the alternative is saying, man, how am I going to find a job?
Yeah.
I'm not going to find one.
Right,
they're not going to hire me.
Yeah.
That's not going to,
Dude, I have a friend who I want to help so bad, but he's like unhelpable. I mean, he's a nice, funny guy. I love him. But like Ilya, dude, he fucking is always like, I don't know, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. He's so Russian and small. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, dude, just get out there, talk to a woman, apply for a job. I'm not qualified.
And you could tell people till you're blue in the face, but they have to want to change for themselves.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is they either have an epiphany or hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And they learn from it and they grow from it.
Well, hopefully, if they don't, they're just stuck.
Exactly. And then sometimes that's the hand that you're dealt. You know, some people live great lives. Some people die not having good ones at all. I mean, that's just the reality of life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm making sure I'm going to have a fucking amazing life.
Yeah. Some people probably never even get laid.
Yeah.
Some people are probably too ugly to get laid.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? But that's a reality.
Yeah,
for
sad
sure.
life. Yeah. But so it's so interesting. Do you just exude mental health? Is that like kind of how you contribute, or do you take on people as clients, or do you just try and be helpful wherever you are?
That's try to be helpful wherever I am. And what really it started is because of all those nights of drinking and doing cocaine.
Yeah.
You end up in someone's fucking.
I knew it was going to do something good.
Well, what would usually happen is that I would end up going home with a girl by myself, and we'd go back to my place, and we would start doing blow. And I would say, most of the time we wouldn't even hook up, or if we did, it was way later.
Yeah.
But we would end up talking forever. And I always found that, number one, in my industry, I mean, it's a pool of people that aren't happy. It really is. I feel like in general, a lot of people aren't happy, but in that environment, if you're subjecting yourself to that environment on a frequent basis, it's escapism. It's not really recreation at that point. It's not fun. It's an addiction. So when you find that, I found that most people were not happy, and I found I was helping people get happier. And I would see them months later, and they were in a better place because of the stuff we talked about. They actually applied it. I would check up on them, like, "Are you doing this?" You know. And I just found that I was doing that with so many people, and then I just started posting about it, and then I was on ABC7 for it, and just because in my industry, there's no one talking about it, and it's probably the most affected.
So I got to ask you a couple questions because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah.
One, you got on ABC7 for it just by being like a friendly, talkative person. Like, what was the story?
Yeah, someone contacted me because of my post that I started Mental Health Mondays like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And this stuff started going viral. I had one clip that went really viral, and someone from ABC7 contacted me, and I was on that, and it was a really good. I watch a lot of my own stuff over and over and stuff, and I'm just like, wow, like I can't believe that even came out of my mouth.
It's this one right here, right?
Oh, that's great. You just talked about that. You can just pull that up right there.
Yeah, it's a black screen.
It's literally my first post on my page.
Yeah.
But there was this one part that, like, after I heard, I was like, wow, like that's real. Like, that hit deep because it is something that everyone deals with. And if you don't do the things, I'm going to say it verbatim.
Yeah.
If you don't do the things to help balance it or get yourself to a better place, it's going to be a reoccurring problem for the rest of your life.
If you don't fix it. Yeah.
And we could all fix it, unless there's like a chemical imbalance or like, I get it. Trust me, there's some cases that are extreme, schizophrenia, where you need therapy, but there's always a way. There's always a way. And I've just found what's really crazy is, like I said, I don't have any formal education, but I happen to there was a girl that, this is so funny. She's going to know I'm talking about her, but she used to be a server, and then she became a therapist, a drug and alcohol therapist. And we happened to meet up at one of my parties. She came to my party, and we hung out after because I just wanted to hang out with her. Had a little crush on her. And we started talking. And while we were talking, I would tell her about my views and stuff on mental health. And she's like, "You just described blah, blah, blah." She would say a technical term.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is, And I would just say things that, like I said, I've heard on a lot of podcasts, stuff that I just come up with my own too, that it was like textbook stuff that she had learned and she was teaching. So I was like, wow. I'm like, this is pretty crazy.
Super cool.
And it just, every person I help, and there's been multiple people, just last week or 2 weeks ago, someone said, like, "You're a reason why I'm alive." Like, how powerful that is?
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing feedback.
Yeah.
That's like all you could hope to do.
And I remember this, actually, I never said this before, but someone someone that wanted to hurt me for no reason. You know how that happens?
Yeah.
I guess made a joke about, like, me helping someone and they commit suicide. Trying to help someone and they commit suicide.
Damn.
They made that joke. And I'm just like,
Fuck you.
No, not even. I feel
know
bad.
The truth, yeah.
I feel bad for people because when you spread negative energy unwarranted, like you talk shit about someone that's a problem with yourself, and it's literally there's something wrong with that person. It's not something I did. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
How are you gonna hate me? I'm positive. I'm trying to help
Yeah.
people. You're gonna hate me for that? That's something inside of them, and they're hurting inside, and they project that.
Very true.
And that's why I don't hate on them. You could say whatever you fucking want to me. For me, I came to a place in my life where I don't let any outside forces, anything that I cannot control affect me negatively. There's no point in that. I watched this one video. I'm gonna quote Sanguru. You know what I'm talking about? The Indian dude?
Sadhguru.
Yeah. So
he's cool. I like him. He's got some really interesting things to say.
He talks about, he has this one story about basically, I'm going to butcher it, so I won't try to explain it all. But when someone says something about you, you have a choice. Mm-hmm. And it's either an unconscious response or a conscious reaction.
Yeah.
And I could unconsciously respond by, react by getting mad at it. Or I could be like, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're saying. I'm going this way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just stay on this. They like the misery.
It takes your own energy to get angry, and then you're the one angry after they're not in your face anymore.
And I know it's a lot easier said than done, right? But I wasn't always like this. It took myself realizing it, putting out basically the intention that I'm going to start doing this, talking to myself during those situations, and having the perspective that I'm going to get better, and then repetition. I do it over and over and over. And so now it's automatic. Yeah. And trust me, I'll get the negative thing first, this whatever. But then, like I said, I fight it right away. I know exactly what to say.
I wouldn't feel like the industry you're in is a very positive one.
No.
And are there positive people in that industry outside of you, or are you just having a good time?
1,000%. I feel like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but at the end of the day, most people are good people.
Yeah.
And their environment affects how they show off to people or how they actually present themselves.
Okay.
Especially on social media.
Yeah.
On social media now, like everyone, you just want attention. People are just trying to look good. And, and that's another thing. I don't even really look at social media much. I just post a lot.
Yeah.
Because I get it too. You're constantly comparing yourself with every swipe.
Yeah.
And it's usually not in a good light. Unless you see someone that's less fortunate than you. And how good is that? That's not good for your mentality either.
Yeah.
If you're able to look at it and be happy for people and let it make it motivate you, that's how I am. When I see someone like, with something that I don't have that I want, I'm like, I could get that. It doesn't make me feel bad. I don't talk shit about them. I want to learn from them. Yeah. I'll message them. So it's a different mentality.
So from your perspective too, and in the industry you're in, from your perspective and seeing it too, do you have a positive relationship with drugs? Do you feel like?
Oh, I 1,000%.
Because it sounds like you've gotten a lot of good things out of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine everybody is doing that.
No. I say most don't. No, most don't. Not, if arbitrary number, 90%.
Describe what a positive relationship with drugs means to you.
So for me, like marijuana in particular, it literally, it's my spinach to Popeye. It really is. Those negative.
I could diffuse the bomb if I smoke first.
So those negative thoughts that everyone gets. What's crazy is that the minute I smoke weed, the positive ones that I use to combat those are on the forefront now.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's not true for most people. I think most people get anxiety when they smoke.
Yeah, and I mean,
me included.
And you know what? And over time, your body changes, and the drugs change.
Yeah.
And now
they're getting better.
I'm at a point now where, like, I would never smoke weed before I worked out. Now I won't do it without it.
Yeah.
Now it's a pre-workout for sure. The higher I get, the better the workout.
Do you think that's because you've conditioned your body to work out while you're high? So
1,000%.
you get high and you're like, let's get a great workout.
Yeah.
And you've almost trained your body what to do when it's on the drug.
Yeah. So marijuana, that too. Like I smoke weed before every podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think deeper. I think I don't articulate as well as I would. I don't speak as well as I would without it because I like I said, I analyze my own.
It's so funny, and I can't find words.
I know I talk faster. No, especially with cocaine too. Cocaine, I used.
Well, that I would have guessed.
So I used to have a joke that I would say is that when I do drugs, I'm an analytical person by nature.
Okay.
When I do drugs, I analyze my analyzations. When I do more drugs, I analyze the analysis of my analyzations. And when I do more drugs, I analyze the analytics of the analysis of my analyzations.
Yeah, you brought a whole IT function. You brought a whole IT system into your brain.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Trying to get down to root cause.
I peel back the onion. I'm sitting there saying, like, who started the day? Who named it Monday? Why is there 7 letters in Monday? Like, I get that deep,
Monday is named after the Roman god of the moon.
Yeah, it was just an example.
I made that up. But where did you grow up in Chicago?
Suburbs, Addison, Illinois, till I moved out at 24 to a place in Elk Grove. I was there for like a year, and I didn't move downtown until about 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, 2008. But ever since then, I've been in Chicago, different parts of Chicago, Streeterville, Logan Square, River North, and the Loop. And then
What's been your favorite neighborhood to live in?
Man, that's tough. I think now Streeterville.
Is that where you are now?
Yeah, I'm close to everything. It's a nice area.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Lakeshore Plaza. I like it. The people there are nice.
Yeah.
And it's still city, but it's not as congested as like if you're deep in there.
Yeah.
So I really, really like it. It's
that's
perfect.
closer to like by like the hospital and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not too far from you either, actually.
I'm right. I mean, you look out my window at Navy Pier's right there.
Yeah, I just did a thing.
There's Derek and Leroy. He's awesome.
He whistles every time you leave.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Derek too. Tell them I said what's up.
I will.
They know me well.
Nice. What? So when did you stop living there?
Probably like 5 years ago now.
And you were there for 7?
Yeah.
Wow, it goes quick, right? I'm already on 4. And I'm like, holy shit, I've been here for that long already.
That'll happen.
But man, I miss those guys. I stop by there whenever I'm in the neighborhood just to say hi.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Shout out to Derek and Leroy.
Oh, now everyone knows where I live. Fuck.
Yeah, right.
The last podcast I was on, they had to cut it out.
You know what? We're doing the Lord's work if we have to cut it out. But yeah, so you grew up there.
And I was in Vegas for a year.
In Vegas for a year.
Yeah.
Were you close with your family growing up?
Not really. Honestly, I was single hell child. Like I can't even tell you how many times I was arrested between the age of like,
wow.
Yes, 15 and like 17, 18.
Yeah.
I'm 2-time convicted felon.
Nice.
Non-violent crimes. And it was when I was young. I don't think I ever talked about this on a podcast.
Let's go.
We used to steal out of cars when I was a kid.
Okay.
I used to be a little thief. And we got caught, and the cop, that's a great story. When the cops came.
Well, let's hear it. Don't.
I was so I live in the last house on a dead end, and so any cars.
Is that a metaphor? The glass house?
No.
Okay.
And the last house.
The last house.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so anytime they came down the street, they would be for my house, and I was sitting there. I just happened to be in my living room in my underwear watching TV, and in my room I used to have stolen shit everywhere. I'm talking cell phones hanging, car radios everywhere. And I would tell my mom, I would lie to my mom, bless her soul, bless her heart, that they were like my friends and stuff. And she always just believed me. And I'm looking out the window and these 2 old Cavaliers pull up. And it was filled with guys and girls. And I'm like, who's this? They get out of the car and they go to their trunk and they start putting on vests. And I'm like, oh my God. I run over to my room and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? I have shit stolen everywhere. And I hear boom, 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 boom. I look and I see a piece of paper to the door. They're like, Eric Blatt, we know you're in there. We have a warrant. You got to let us in. And if I knew what I know now, I would have never opened the door. Like, bust that shit down.
Yeah.
I went in there. I opened the door. They're like, okay, well, you could do this the easy way or the hard way. You could either show us everything that's stolen or we'll take everything. Again, I should have said nothing. I sat there and went, that's stolen. That's stolen.
Yeah,
that's
they scared
stolen.
you.
That's stolen. Yeah. And that admitted my guilt. So I got charged as a minor for an adult.
How old were you?
17.
Okay.
And they charged me with burglary. And it should have been, now that I know, again, I would have gotten a lawyer. I got a lawyer out of the phone book.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. And I could still get that expunged, but it hasn't affected my employment or anything anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't have a gun, but
Yeah.
that's the only thing. And then I got caught with ecstasy pills, 2008.
No way.
Yeah, it was like 5 of them, and I got a felony for that too.
Damn, yeah, they were really
So
cracking
I was a
down
bad
around
kid.
then.
I was a bad kid. We went off on a tangent, and I love when you recover it.
Yeah, we find it.
And so me and my parents, they didn't have me on a tight leash at all. My room was connected to the house, but it had a door that went outside. So I came and gone when I wanted, pretty much. I used to have parties in there. When like 2000, I think it was maybe 2002, like when ecstasy first hit the scene for us.
Yeah.
We used to have roll parties in there, and the whole weekend the room would be just people partying, coming in
Yeah.
and out.
Yeah,
We had
yeah,
garbage bags lying all around the windows because it was all windows in my room, but they were all covered with garbage bags. But so I can't believe my mom's still alive after everything I put her through.
Yeah, right.
And so that's why now I feel like I'm indebted to her. But once they got older, I feel like once you grow up, you start to appreciate your parents, start spending more time, start talking to them. And I was doing that. And it wasn't until, because I moved to Vegas, and when I was in Vegas, I found out that my dad got sick. At one time, I found out he had diabetes. It was type 2, so it was manageable. He had prostate cancer. He beat that. He was in remission, but then he had dementia also. Dementia just gets worse
Yeah.
until you die. And so I'm just like, I got to go back home. I was crushing it in Vegas too, loving my life, and I'm like,
Yeah, I feel like your job would thrive in Vegas.
yeah, 100%. But I'm like, I got to go back home to my parents. So, and I had a girl I was kind of talking to there too. So and I had a job also waiting for me too. So there was a lot of factors that was just like, I don't need to do this right now. So I went back home, and that's when I became really close with them. Because I just seen my dad all the time, and over the past of 6 years, grew closer and closer and closer until he passed. Yeah. And what's crazy is that my mom is a nurse, and she was a full-time nurse and his full-time nurse. Hey. Yeah. So my mom's the strongest.
So she was
woman
the caretaker.
She's the strongest woman on the planet. And when he passed, I'm like, okay, now I have to take care of my mom.
Yeah, now she needs a break.
Yep. And so that's when I really started. Now I talk to her every day. Mm-hmm. I never used to do that. I see a movie with her every week. Or
like go to the
casino.
movies?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Every week we
What'd you see this week?
We just saw, what was it? The re-release of the Star Trek.
Oh, how was it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
What's so
big
funny?
Star Trek fan?
No, I'm just a big fan of movies in general.
Yeah, me
but
too.
it was something that I did a lot when I was in a relationship or when I didn't have any purpose or goals. Now my TV doesn't even turn on. I don't even turn on my TV.
Right, because you're so focused. But you do get to see movies with your mom.
Yes, so
which
that's
is cool.
which is really nice. And the new movies are fucking great. I mean, they're made well. Yeah, I think the only thing is that it's hard to find good ideas, right?
Yeah.
But
do you and your mom fight about what movie you're gonna see?
No, she's really easygoing. We saw one movie that I found that there's some movies that I just shouldn't take her to go see. There was like a horror movie. I forgot what it was. I forgot. Oh man, it was like this one where the guy turns into some animal. It just came out recently, but it was so bad and so like grotesque.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and she was just like, I could tell it was not something she was enjoying. She's going to have nightmares from it. She talks about it, like she doesn't like it. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, let's leave. We left during the middle of the movie. So, but besides that, she likes action movies.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fun. That's easy. It's easy to work
and
with.
And they're really well made now. I mean, she thinks some of the shit's so real too. And I'm like, Mom, this is all CGI.
Yeah, right? CGI is pretty cool these days.
Yeah.
I wonder if you ever watch a movie from like 2001 and you're like,
yeah,
like The Matrix, for example. At the time, I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. And now I'm like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
We must watch the things now, go like, you can't even tell, but like in 10 years, it'll be so good. We'll be like, what the fuck were we thinking?
Exactly. Yeah, it's so crazy how you just get accustomed to or normalized to that.
Oh, that's my grandparents' stuff too. Like when we watch old movies, I love old movies.
Yeah.
They show me a lot of them. But like someone will get like thrown from a train and it's like the worst like shadow effect. I'm like, when you guys watched this as kids, did you think this was like as real as it got? And they were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because they weren't exposed to anything else.
Right.
Now we're exposed to everything.
Kind of like your whole like mental health like
yeah.
affirmations, right? Like if that's all your limitation tells you, you're going to think it's great.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I have a paragraph of things that I've said to myself, and usually it's, you have to, if you're going to do something like that, when it's not part of your normal schedule, you have to choose a point to do it. That makes it easier. So
you like block off time in your day?
So my
same time every day?
So not the same time. So my time was when I would pull into the gym, and before I'd get out of my car going to the gym, I would literally look at my fucking rearview mirror, and I say, like I said, a paragraph. And
the people walking by are like, he's gonna work off some shit in the gym.
Good thing I got tints, but
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so I've done that so many times, and there'll be times where I don't go to the gym for like 2 days and I don't do it.
Yeah.
And I'll literally say to myself, like, man, I feel like I have to do it. Like because I know how it makes me feel after doing it for so long. It does. It really does give you confidence, because think about it.
You feel like it's part of your workout now?
No, not really. Because sometimes I've done it without doing it.
Sure.
But because when you think about it, because most of the time people are saying negative things to themselves, that they're not enough, that they're not, whatever the case may be.
It's pretty rare to just sit there and naturally be like, I'm fucking great.
Yeah. And think about
I'm the best.
If you've ever gone through that, think about how you feel after you're saying that to yourself and stuff like that. You don't feel good.
Yeah.
But when you say empowering shit, when you say powerful shit, when you say, you feel better, you feel good.
Yeah.
When you say positive stuff. And I implore everyone to just try it. And I don't care if you feel stupid doing it, or I don't care if you feel, I think the main thing is, like, if you don't believe it, well, most of the time, the negative, like we said, the negative thing that you're saying to yourself is, do you really believe that? Is that really true? Is that true?
Yeah.
No, it's a false scenario you're making up, and you believe it because you say it to yourself.
Fear fictional events appear real. Denzel said that in a movie once.
So now, why don't you say something positive?
I think it was Training Day.
Say something positive that's not real, and it's going to have the same effect.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do it a lot more and a lot longer, because you've been doing the negative thing for so much longer.
Yeah. I was at a really low point a couple years ago, and I was scrolling on TikTok, wasting my time, and these fucking TikTok mental health coaches and tarot card readers would find me, and dude, I started listening to them because I was so low. I was like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And then honestly,
help.
It did. I mean, some of them were wacky as fuck. So you get these people on there going, you need to leave your spouse. You're like, what? This is dangerous information. But then it just becomes the algorithm, right? And then you get mixed with some good stuff. You hear some affirmations and things, and it really got me to a place that made me feel a lot better. Yeah. And now my life's totally transformed. Awesome. And I've definitely, I'm doing much better, but I've definitely settled into almost feeling like I don't need it anymore. Mm-hmm. But
well, what happens when you do that? Now you're kind of going backwards.
I'm pulling back. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to keep on doing it, because what's going to happen is that you're preconditioned. That's probably has more years under the belt. Yeah. Is going to creep up on you. And it's just one of those things where it's just, this is another thing too that I learned. So sub 7, basically before you're 7 years old, okay, this is some science shit. Your brain is in theta, where you're going to subconsciously learn things. Yeah. And so even the best parent in the world, when a child is about to touch a stove, they're going to go, no. Yeah. They're going to yell at that kid. That kid doesn't know what no is. All he hears is yelling. He's told not to do something. He's all of a sudden getting fearful. Yeah. Now we're conditioned from an early age, no matter how. What's crazy is that the bad parents that let that kid touch that stove, now those kids are fucking confident. Those kids don't have, well, there's just like how there's so many people in the world with the negative thoughts, there's some people in the world that have the positive forefront thoughts, like I was talking about.
So that almost means that children under the age of 7 can only learn by example or by trial and error, which I think is probably true.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best way.
Yeah, because you can't really explain to a 2-year-old, don't do that. But if they touch it and it's hot, they're probably not going to do it again. Yep. And if they do it again, you probably got to get your baby checked out.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. But no, you just kind of made a revelation for me, too, because if you touch it yourself, now you know, and you're like, you're not going to touch that. But because you got yelled at, you never found out. And wow. That just kind of blew my mind right there.
Cool. You were saying something earlier. I had a sub question for you. We were just talking about your mom, the movies, and then how did we get on this one?
We were asking me how close I was with my parents.
Yeah. Maybe it'll come to me. What is your favorite movie, though?
First thing that came to my head was Goodfellas.
Oh, that's a great one, man.
Yeah, if I didn't, I could rattle off pretty much my top 5. It's like Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street, Blow, Dumb and Dumber.
So I totally get the kind of movies you like. That's amazing. You like Scorsese movies.
Yes.
You like that
Jim
type of
Carrey.
genre. Yeah. Truman Show, I assume.
Yeah.
I love the Truman Show. That's one of my top 3. Probably not my favorite. I
Me,
would say my
Myself, and
favorite's
Irene.
Godfather. Me, Myself, and Irene. It's funny because these are movies I remember watching as like a young kid. I was probably 6 when that came out.
Oh, wow.
But my dad would show me everything.
Yeah.
So I remember watching Me, Myself, and Irene. I remember the scene with the dildo.
Yes.
And I remember being a kid and being like, "What is that?"
The scene where he's sucking on a woman's tit.
There's that. Yeah. I just remember being like, "What is this yellow
That's
floppy
crazy.
thing in the trunk?"
Yeah. That movie, Dazed and Confused, is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I can almost recite that entire movie.
You know who I think is a cool guy now, and always been, but like more so now, and talks a lot like you, is Matthew McConaughey. A lot of his podcasts make me feel really good after listening to them.
Yeah.
I listened to one he
he's
did
amazing.
with the Tetragrammaton with Rick Rubin.
Mm-hmm. Rick Rubin's awesome too.
The man.
Yeah.
And just Matthew McConaughey just says stuff like kind of like how you said that thing about like, you tell yourself I'm going to do this or I'm going to die, and said like says things that feel logical.
Yeah.
And like I don't like, I've always had a problem with like the spiritual community and new age spirituality because they make it this thing like you just want
like it's magic.
Yeah, like I just imagine a bunch of girls going outside with their purse, walking down the street, going, "Today I manifest a promotion." And guys are in the gym going, "I manifest."
Yeah,
whatever.
don't do anything.
It's
well, what
logical.
I do is so what I try to do is what makes it logical is I try to define steps to get there. Because if you just say something and you're not providing a guide directions on how to achieve that or how to get there or how to even kind of move the needle, because where that place is at that I'm suggesting is so far away from where a lot of people are.
Yeah.
So how do you at least get a little closer? I try to give them steps to start, and make it sustainable. Because at the end of the day, I feel like most people, when they do say stuff like that, especially on social media, you just see clips. Yeah. And so to someone that's a naysayer, to someone that's a negative person, someone that's not happy, they're like, fuck that shit.
Well, it's not really just clips. There's a lot of people out there that are just wacky people that have a following.
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, this is not a wacky person, I actually like these people. I was just curious because it's in the same kind of world. Do you know a guy named Eben Britton?
I don't believe so.
So he used to play for the Bears.
Okay.
He did a podcast with Mike Tyson called Hotboxing for years.
Okay.
Back when it was cool, and they would film it all in black and white and get great guests. And Eben would always just, Mike's also of that same kind of like thought process now.
Yeah.
And Eben was just like always grounding him and almost felt like he was teaching him how to be like, you got to exercise, you got to get in the sun, you got to like, you got to think these thoughts. He has a lot of really cool things to say. He has his own podcast. Mike went off with Jeremy Piven, and now
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the Mike podcast is great.
I remember
like
Hotbox.
But these are the early episodes. Him, there's a friend I would actually love for you to talk to him. Shout out Luke. We're gonna go down and do like a summer series and go to different locations to film the pod.
Very cool.
He moved to Mexico, so he lives in. I'm not going to say actually, but I'll tell you later. He lives in the west coast of Mexico.
Okay.
And it's a town I've been going to for like 20 years. Like my grandparents would live down there.
Oh, no way.
And I would go visit them in the summers. Now as an adult, they still go down there for the winters.
Yeah.
So now I go hang out, and we'll always get together, and I'll see him for a few days. But I met him down there in 2020 or 2021. He was just this interesting guy. And then we were just hanging out. I was like, oh, he's a cool dude. And somebody just asked me, do you know Luke's story? And I said, no. And they go, ask him when next time you're like walking with him. I was like, so somebody asked you about your story. And he goes, yeah, like I've been really, really sick for a long time. He took this drug called Cipro.
Okay.
It's like an antibiotic. And I guess there's, in some cases, a very adverse reaction.
Wow.
So he was one of those like minimal like percentage cases. Mm-hmm. And he went into a coma for 2 years.
Wow.
And when he woke up to his fiance having left him, to his, which I was like, fuck. And then I also thought about it. I was like, 2 years is a long time. What is he doing?
Yeah.
He woke up. He had a business. His parents sold his business for him. So he had a little bit of money, but he didn't have the business.
Yeah.
They told him he'd never walk again, would never eat on his own.
Holy shit.
Got himself through a period of being told he was going to die like every day.
Yeah.
to being able to walk a little bit, eat on his own, got himself kind of healthy.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm changing my life. He moved down to this town, lives a very natural lifestyle. He's big on a circadian rhythm. He sleeps outside.
Holy shit. Sounds like my spirit animal.
No, he's like that guy. Like he lived it, and he does like he only eats like he doesn't only eat like he lives his life too, but like he eats really well and like is all about like just exactly what we're talking about. But like he says on days he does it, it's kind of like if I don't do this, I'm gonna die. Like you were saying, on days he does it, he says I feel like the death creep back in, and I'm not gonna let it happen.
Wow.
It's cool, and he talks to a lot of people in the support group who went through the same thing.
Yeah.
He said 85% of us kill themselves.
Wow.
And so he's just trying to like be there for people.
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk to him. Actually.
I think it's so funny just thinking about it right now is that because I already know how I love my life and being, and I guess you don't know till you cross that bridge.
Yeah.
But if I just know, I feel like that's something I'd probably kill myself.
Yeah.
Because I would rather not live a life than to be living it like that through that adversity like that.
And that's what he said too. I asked him once. I said, would you go through it again knowing you'd be fine at the end of it? He goes, no.
Really?
Yeah. He goes, no. Like if you told me I could have a year of being like this and then I die, I would take that over the pain and the suffering I went through for years and not knowing. Yeah. And probably dying at the end of that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Just
so, hold on, you're doing the podcast with him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm excited. So he's built out like this amazing complex in Mexico where it's just like him and like 4 neighbors are the only people on top of this ocean view on a mountain.
Oh, God.
And
Paradise.
the towns kick together, all 4 of them, to build a cobblestone road up there. And they just live off the
cool.
land. And you know, he's always drinking lime water. He goes
That's
to town
retirement.
once a month.
Yeah.
It's retirement, but he's kind of built a little business for himself because he's built like 3 or 4 casitas on the land.
Oh, wow.
And he has long-term people stay, and he clears enough to live and be pretty comfortable and travel and do his thing.
That's awesome.
I'm happy for him.
To come from such a crazy story like that too. Holy shit.
Crazy story. And it makes me think, we were talking about Sadhguru earlier. I had heard him talking once about a guy that he felt like was the only guy he's ever met that like achieved nirvana. And it was some guy who basically was told he was going to die.
Define nirvana. I don't even know what that really, because
I don't know the band. Just Sadhguru said it. Oh,
Really?
like what does it mean outside of the band? Like the idea that
this
like
home, like this, I don't know, peace, tranquility, type
like
thing?
full peace, tranquility. Like nirvana is like the Buddha supposedly like let go of all karmic desires and all karmic worldly possessions.
I'm gonna Google that shit later.
To then elevate to a level where he no longer existed as a person.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah. Yo, what's it say?
Transcendent state in which there is neither suffering, desire, nor sense of self, and the subject is released from the effects of karma and the cycle of death and rebirth. It represents the final goal of Buddhism. Wow.
It's like the final.
That's the ultimate.
Enlightenment would be another word for it.
That's awesome.
But Sadhguru had said that this guy was just kind of told and like dozed off. His family left him, and he just was told he would die and kind of left in this hospital in India. And he had met him like 5-10 years later.
Oh, I think I heard this.
Yeah. It was in one of his things I was watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just interesting.
That's amazing. I honestly feel like I've gained so much by watching different people like that. You know, because you think about it, you could either watch that or White Lotus, whatever that show is called.
I hate White Lotus. My girlfriend's making me watch White Lotus right now, dude.
I get it when you're in a relationship, you have to compromise. You know what I mean? That's something that you just do together.
I hate that show.
You know, but if you're watching things, there's, like I said before, there's so many things that people can do to help themselves be happier, be healthier, that are free, you know, but it's just a matter of choices. And I think the reason why a lot of people don't is because the bad stuff, it's the automatic dopamine hit. It's immediate gratification. Whereas the good stuff, you don't know. Like vitamin C is proven to make your immune system better, but you don't feel it. You don't know. There's no barometer on it. If I do a bump of cocaine, I feel that shit right away. So I feel like that's the separation. Because if all of a sudden, like let's say you were sick and vitamin C made you all of a sudden made you healthy like that, people would be taking shit right away. But because they don't, you know,
it's kind of like it's instant gratification. For sure. And it kind of is the opposite of like that negative thought pattern.
You know, I've been having in my head, I got to tell you, because I've been thinking about it this whole time, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Goo Goblin. That fucking video is great.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah. I think that's the last one I watched. But but after I watched the one where you were over by, what's it called? The hot dog place?
Wiener Circle.
I'm like, I'm going gonna go do that. I want to do something like that. I'm gonna ask them if I can do that.
They're super fun. They're cool. I love when businesses will just fuck with you. Kind of like what you were saying earlier. You're like, if I want to work with somebody, I'm going to follow up with them, blah, blah, blah. I want to get things done. To the same effect, I DM'd you. You responded immediately. That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I love when businesses like reciprocate
collaborate.
that. And like we were talking about our buddy Professor Pizza earlier. He comes out here sometimes. He brings pizza.
Okay, I saw. Yeah, I just saw him recently on social media. I didn't know who he was, but yeah, he's got a pretty big following.
He's huge. He just won #2 slice in the world at the Pizza Expo. He's got 2 shops in Chicago.
Nice. Does he have a podcast?
He's going to start one.
Oh,
but
nice.
He's been on ours a couple times.
Yeah.
But like he's somebody that just collabs and fucks with everybody.
Same.
And I think that's what's making him successful.
Yeah.
It's the not gatekeeping of what you have.
I tell everyone, like, so just recently I heard someone on a podcast say like everyone's worth a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And when people would ask me to be on their podcast before, I would look at their followers, and if they only had like a little bit, I wouldn't do it. But now I'm like, even if they have 100, that's 100 people that maybe don't know me.
Yeah.
And it only takes one person.
You got to make stuff for the people who don't know you.
Yeah. And it only takes, and it's content, and I just been a really big believer in just collaborating with as many people as possible.
Hell yeah.
Because I've been doing that for the last 10, my entire nightlife career has been built on collaborating with people. And what's great is that I found, you probably felt this too, the more followers you get, the more people are willing to work with you because they see the benefit.
Yeah, it's back to that instant gratification thing. It's like, oh, he can do something for me, or he's legit, or it's also a sign of credibility in a certain respect. That it's like, okay, enough people fuck with him. He's hit a tipping point.
Yeah.
I'm going to plug a book I didn't read, Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point.
Whereas before, when I would message some people would be hesitant to work with me.
Yeah.
Now, because I took the initiative, because I made the first move, they're like, fuck yeah. Where they were probably thinking, like, I would love to work with him.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make that move. They're too scared to.
Hell yeah.
That's why anything that you're afraid of, just fucking do it.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
We used to do this segment on here called Rapid Fire. I haven't done it in a while, but I think you'd be a fun person to do it with.
Okay.
So I'm going to explain it to you. We'll do this quick segment, and then we'll get out of here. I know it's been a little bit over
How long
an
have we been
hour.
talking for? I don't even know.
Look, what are we at? An hour?
It's been great fucking conversation. Like when it's good conversation, it just fucking flies.
Yeah, it's felt like that's why I always that's why I keep this clock up here because otherwise we could talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not Joe Rogan. Nobody's gonna listen to me for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But okay, so what rapid fire is I'm basically gonna ask you a series of questions and you could respond. The best way to respond is really whatever you want, but mostly the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Like a one-word answer or a phrase.
Okay.
Okay. So like the first one's an easy one. Like what motivates you?
My mother, taking care of my mother.
Taking care of your mother?
Yeah.
What was your motivation before that?
Success.
Success. Do you still have that motivation?
Yeah.
Okay. What do your tattoos represent for you?
Man, I have so many. I got my mom right there. I got my dead dog right there. I got Michael Jordan right here. I got the Chicago skyscrapers there. I have Medusa on my back. That was just like a power. Women have always been a powerful hold on me.
Yeah. You got Medusa?
Yeah. And it just looks fucking cool, but it sucks because I can't see it.
Yeah.
It's the only tattoo I can't see. But I have a lot. I mean,
what does this one say? Positivity?
yeah, it says spread love and positivity.
Okay. And then your hand says hate.
Yep.
I assume the other one says love. Stop hate.
Stop hate.
Oh, pretty misleading if you don't see the other hand.
Yeah, hate.
Both of them by themselves are like,
Hate.
stop.
Yeah,
Hate.
stop hate. Hate stop.
But like, what do they represent to you? Do you feel like they're a part of your like life you want to hold on to and remember? Do you want to express?
It's definitely, it was, I would say, a artistic expression, but at the same time, insecurity. It stemmed from insecurity. It was people that had tattoos were cooler. It was like a kind of a cool thing to do. And I also found too the scorpion in the back of my head. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my entire life.
I bet.
It gave me, every time I go get a tattoo, I feel like I'm getting stronger mentally, especially for this one. Because for this one, what I had to do was,
You felt like you endured the tattoo.
I was gripping on a chair, I was biting down on a shirt, and I was saying to myself over and over, this ain't pain, this ain't shit, this ain't pain, this ain't shit. Because it literally felt like a chisel in my skull.
Jesus.
And so in the minute I stopped saying it to myself, then it would freaking hurt even more. but the power of the mind.
Yeah.
I just kept on saying it, even when I go in the cold plunge now.
I stubbed my toe the other day.
Yeah, why does that hurt so much? You can hit me with a bat and it won't hurt as much as me getting hit by stubbing my toe.
Do you still get tattoos?
Yeah, I think my last one was this one. It's probably been about a year.
The
No.
scorpion?
My leg. I totally forgot. I'm doing a leg piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. So, you know what it is?
I
What
don't
does
yet.
what does it look like?
I can't see. Hang on. It looks like I'm not sure. What is it? It looks like prosthetic something.
Like a machine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking machine.
Oh. Okay, Bert Kreischer. It's a machine.
I really am.
Different than motivation. What inspires you?
Helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that helping people, giving to people, it makes you feel good. There's science behind it, and why not? I just optimize everything, and if I want to feel as good as possible, I know that makes me feel good. I do it as much as possible. At my party every week, I'm giving away free drugs. I have I could keep that stuff for myself. I could keep a couple if I want, but
Yeah.
no, I give it all away. The more I give, the better I feel. And so whether it be helping someone, whether now a lot of times I've just been doing this on my own too. Besides the little, like I'll be tipping people that you don't tip, 7-Eleven cashiers, I'll give them like a $20 or something like that. But
They treat you like royalty. the
yeah,
next day.
no, the worst is that they expect it then after a while. I had
Oh,
to stop
no
going to
way.
places. This one woman that I
You gotta
used to
remind them it's 7-Eleven, bro.
I'm paying them more than they're getting paid.
Yeah, this taquito's
And
$1.99.
this one woman, one time I didn't have any cash. She's like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You're mad that I'm not giving it to you this time when I just gave you
Yeah.
$100 the last 5 times?"
Yeah.
So whatever. That's we're talking about.
I was gonna. You had said something. I was gonna ask you a question on it. You would mention that like you optimize everything.
Yeah, just about giving, helping people.
Yeah.
And inspire. Like I honestly, like some kid just asked. A lot of people.
Right, what
ask me-
inspires you?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, like promoters, up and coming DJs. This one just asked me, like, he asked me a really great question. He said, "We talked about sales and marketing before, but if you could go back and tell your 30-year-old self tips or whatever, what would you tell them?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that was actually a really good question. So I actually messaged him and I left him a message. And I left him a voice message because I wanted to hear it over because I'm trying to get better at not using filler words.
Yeah.
And I found it's hard when I'm high because I just fucking yap.
Filler words like and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's a very stand-up concept too, because
Yeah.
you want to minimize your words.
Yeah.
You want to cut all the fat out of your jokes and keep them as short as possible.
yeah. And the way to do it is to stop, like I just did right there, and
Yeah.
think about what you're going to say before instead of using that filler word because you're trying to think about something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the other quick thing I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like if you didn't optimize success and like mental health, you'd be optimizing something else just by the way you're built?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
definitely
you're
my
just
nature.
optimizing the best choice you could optimize, but no matter who you are, you're going to optimize.
No matter what I do,
So you could run a drug empire, you could run a CEO of a conglomerate major corporation, or you could just be this mental health guy.
It's whatever I put my mind to. Like even a pickup game at basketball, I play like it's game 7 of the finals.
Yeah.
I'm that competitive. I take everything really, really seriously.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is your favorite food?
Wow. The first thing that came to my head was Portillo's Italian beef.
That's a good one. What was your favorite food growing up?
Bacon and rice.
Bacon and rice.
My mom always had rice for Asian.
Hell yeah.
It's not a joke. It is funny though, but yeah, she would always have just random stuff that I would eat with rice, and bacon was always a great combination.
That's cool.
Shout out mom and bacon.
Shout out mom and bacon. Yeah, that's crazy. We'll do 2 more. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Best piece of advice I've ever gotten. I've never been asked that. And the first thing that comes to my head is the advice I give myself.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Yeah. I can't think of a single thing. Like I said, it all comes down to the things that you say to yourself and your perspectives. So myself.
You said earlier that you kind of gave me a quote already. I always like to ask people their favorite quote. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rephrase this. What is your favorite quote not said by you?
So the one that first came to my head is, I don't remember his name, but I have the video on my Instagram. But he talks about how the past is literally just a thought that's arising in your
I love
head
this one.
now. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And we spend our lives, repudiating it and like fearing it, and we never actually live in the present. Mm-hmm. And the future never arrives.
Yeah.
Because the only time is right now.
Yeah.
And it's so profound.
Yeah.
And when you really, really think about that, it really should put urgency to everything in your life. Like, you don't have time to waste, and anything that's happened before, if you're not getting past that, all it's doing is affecting your life now negatively.
Yeah.
It's not helping you unless you're using it to help you. Like, you're using it to like learn a lesson or to maybe not do that again. But most of the time, people are just living in that suffering, and it's stopping them from living their lives and being happy. And I get it. It's hard, but you have to just move forward. And the minute that you do, and the more that you work on it, it's going to feel better working on it than staying back there.
Yeah. I've heard a similar thing said a couple ways. I think the one I'm thinking of was actually Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
But he said kind of the same thing.
Which one is it? Because I'm thinking of one too.
No, what you just said. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson said it on
Oh,
Instagram.
urgency of...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I heard, I don't know if it was him too, but
We could talk. Where he says he could, if he could live forever, would I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was him, but somebody also said it was kind of a cool, freeing thought that like you can never die. Like, sure, you can be dead, but if you're dead, you will never be you. So you can never be dead.
Yeah.
You'll never actually be dead. You know what I mean?
You won't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even you won't know it. It's just like it's not you anymore. You can't be that.
Yes.
All you could be is alive.
Yeah. Wow.
You get it? All right, man. This has been fun. Sorry to keep you long. This was
not at
awesome.
all.
You've been a
It was
good
great.
guest, man. Appreciate the conversation. We just blew everybody's mind. Subscribe. Nick's pointing down to the ground. Hit that fucking subscribe button right there on the chop shop, man. Wagwan.
Thank you.